Hello.
Hello. So this is a special episode from us, Nerdcouver.
Yes.
So we are going to talk about Hexed.
The novel.
The novel.
Not the comic, but the comic will be brought up over the course of us talking about the novel.
Of course.
Yeah.
So yes, Hexed is written by Michael Allen Nelson, and it's the first of what I'm assuming is going to be a series of Hexed novels.
I hope so. I really liked it.
We'll get into that.
Yes.
But yes, so Hexed is about a girl named Lucifer, and it started in Fall of Cthulhu, which I have not read.
But I have.
I purchased it, I just haven't read it yet because it's a hefty read.
It really is, and it's worth every second of the reading. If you like the Cthulhu mythos at all, read this book. Like, even if you have only a passing familiarity with the Cthulhu mythos, this is one of the best Cthulhu-based stories you'll ever read. It's phenomenal. It's absolutely incredible. The amount of depth and mythology and character building that ends up happening here. And of those characters, one is introduced, and her name is Lucifer.
Yay! And her story continued in Hexed, which came out in 2008, I believe, or 2009. And that was a, 4-issue series?
I think it was like a 4-issue series. Boom tends to do either 4 or 6 issues as their sort of byline testing things.
And then the 12-part series, which is still ongoing, came out, and the character was so good. It was just, the entire story, everything is just fantastic. So I think it was issue 10 is when the Hex novel came out.
Yep.
And I just finished reading issue 10, and I had my handy little Kobo here. Woo. And it was midnight. Yep. And I was just like, you know what? I really want to read Hex. So I went on and I bought it.
Yep.
And I read the prologue, and yeah. So let's talk about the book, I guess.
Yeah, I actually heard about it from her.
Yes.
And as soon as I found out that there was a novel, I was like, I must own this.
He went out and ordered it.
Yeah, like immediately, and because I'm in love with this world and these characters, and I'm really enjoying Michael Allen Nelson as a writer. So
yes, he writes some really good stuff. So okay, I'm gonna do a little brief rundown of what I thought. So as a novel, I really liked it. I thought it was really well written. I thought the pacing was extremely well done, and the characters were interesting. The plot was interesting. The reason why I had an issue with it is because I found that Lucifer was a different character than the one I know and love. But again, you didn't have that problem because you read Fall of Cthulhu. So I'm going to read Fall of Cthulhu, and then I'm going to reread this book and see what I think.
And we can do another review at that point, because I'd really be interested to see what you think after reading Fall of Cthulhu. Because the order, for those of you that are interested, it starts with Fall of Cthulhu, where we get the introduction, then the novel.
Yes. It's in between this year. So the novel is, like a couple of years after the events of Fall of Cthulhu?
It's pretty soon thereafter. Lucifer is fairly mangled on a psychological level after Fall of Cthulhu. She deals with it a lot better than some of the other characters, and she kind of has help with that in the form of the harlot, which, I mean, for a given value of helped. We also find out why she's hexed.
Yes.
Which is horrifying, by the by. Don't read Fall of Cthulhu at night. At the end of it, Lucifer is alone. She didn't really have anybody going into the book, but everybody loses in Fall of Cthulhu. It is not a happy ending. It's as happy as it can be, which is true of a lot of Lovecraftian stuff. So when she's moving into this, I know what your major problem with the character is. She kind of has a crush.
Yeah.
Because she's 16 years old, and she's been alone forever, and she's hired to go and rescue another 16-year-old girl who has been kidnapped by witches.
Witches.
So, spoilers.
The witches No, The Sisters of Witchdown.
Yeah.
Which is the name of the book.
And they're properly terrifying.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're great. The explanation of witches as opposed to like magic users is really well illustrated.
Yes.
And the witches themselves are horrifying, so that's a lot of fun to get into. But I understand why Lucifer would have those feelings coming out of Fall of Cthulhu, and why she'd be entertaining that want for just a normal life, just that need to be accepted. And it's interesting for me to watch her go from Fall of Cthulhu, where she very much does not have that but is seeking it, to Hexed, where she's still seeking it and cannot get it, and finally into Hexed, the comic series, where she has Val.
Yes.
And this introduces Val. This
that
shows where Val
really
comes
cool.
from, and oh my god.
That was a really good intro scene.
Yeah.
I really liked it.
Which again makes me really, really curious to see what you're going to think after Fall of Cthulhu.
Oh, okay.
Because, yeah, it's a really, really good introduction for the character. And, yeah, I'm just a really, really big fan of Michael Allen Nelson. So.
I know. So if you haven't read any of the Hex stuff, I think the novel does a pretty good job of giving enough background information that you would understand, what's going on without having to read any of the comics.
Yep. If one of the things I really appreciate about Michael Allen Nelson's writing is the idea that you don't have to have read anything else to dive right in.
Yeah.
You get a very strong sense of who Lucifer is in any of them.
Well, yeah, like both of us started with the second series, and we had no problem getting involved with these characters and attached to the world and everything. So
yeah, and from what I remember you saying, Hexed itself wasn't the problem, like the book.
Oh no, the book was fantastic. Like if I had not read any of the comics, or if I had read Fall of Cthulhu first, then I would have loved the book. Like I thought it was extremely interesting, and the only issue I had with it was that it didn't feel like Lucifer to me. But that's because I didn't have that background, and I knew Lucifer from the two newer series, and she's strong, she is confident, and then in the novel she's a teenager.
Yeah.
She's like rebellious and lonely and pining after boys, and it doesn't help that I really ship her with Raina as well.
That's completely fair.
So when David came into the picture, I'm like,
no,
Raina. So yeah, that's probably another reason why I didn't like that relationship, because I was just like, it was ruining my OTP.
I can see that as an OTP, because Raina is great.
She is.
And I think she's going to be the center of the next series.
I wouldn't mind that.
No.
She's pretty awesome. Yeah, I would definitely recommend it to people that like, like occult or fantasy type books.
Modern urban fantasy. I think urban fantasy is the...
Urban fantasy?
Yeah, it's the nomenclature.
But yeah, no, it's really interesting. I loved like all of the magic stuff that was included in it. Like the... I don't want to get too spoilery, but like it was like a hell beast or like a hellhound thing.
Yeah. I love the harlot.
That was
I just love the harlot. I love the harlot's response to the hell beast.
Yes.
It's really well written. It's really well plotted. The mythology is consistent throughout. The characterization is great. One of the things I really, really like about it is just that sense of loneliness, because she is so desperate for things that she can't really understand. I love this entire series. I'm both angry and excited for the ending of Hexed. I'm angry because I don't want it to end, because I really enjoy it, but on the other hand, a good story has to end.
Yes, and it's better to be ended well instead of dragged out and beaten with a stick.
Yes.
I should have read Fall of Cthulhu before the novel, but I didn't even know about it until you told me about it.
I'm happy to spread the word.
I know, there was like no mention in it. Like it's in the author bio, it says written also Fall of Cthulhu, but I didn't know that Lucifer was from that. So
she doesn't appear until like halfway through it.
Yeah. But because like Hex, the 2008 comic series, was just so well-rounded that I didn't even know that
Yeah.
there was a further, like a prequel to
Neither
it.
did I. And when I
Yeah.
found out, I was like, oh my god, really?
Yeah.
And like ran out and hunted it down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, that's how good those comics are.
You should really read them.
Yes.
Yeah.
And issue 12, I think, comes out this month, which is the last one in this arc. And I believe the first trade is coming out pretty soon, too.
God.
So,
I have a shelf
them
for
up.
your stuff, Michael Allen Nelson. I have a shelf reserved. So please give me more trades and give me like a continuation of Hexed because I really
Reina
want one.
story.
Call it Necromancer or something.
Necromanced.
Yeah, that would be phenomenal. You take that, please. Run with it. Necromance would be a great title. And
Necromanced. It's like romance with the necromancer because Lucifer and Rena.
OTP forever.
Alrighty. Thanks for watching.
Have fun. Thank you.
Have fun reading Hex because you better.
Grab it. Grab it or it will hunt you down.